Hi, this is Les Year, and I want to talk today about, did Hank Williams write his own songs? Well, the answer to that is yes and no. As my channel clearly shows, I love Hank Williams' music. He was a pioneer for country music and a prolific songwriter. I found it interesting, though, that I recently came upon an article in a magazine called Country Music Inquirer. The date on the magazine was February 1984. It was billed as a special Hank Williams issue. Now, there was a lot of good stuff about the life of Hank Williams. I knew most of it, but I found something I didn't know. There were two articles that said that Hank did not write all of the songs attributed to him. Now, to me, this was a serious accusation. If a song was published with only Hank Williams' name as the writer, I believe that he was the writer of that song. Now, Hank sang many songs that were not written by him. For example, his most popular song, Lovesick Blues, was written by Cliff Friend and Irving Mills. And this is well known as not written by Hank Williams. Many other songs were published with Hank and a co-writer. Mansion on a Hill was co-written with Fred Rose. Crazy Mixed Up Heart, co-written with Jimmy Fields. I'll Never Get Out of This World Alive, co-written with Fred Rose. Jambalaya on the Bayou. Lyrics co-written with Moon Mullican, melody adapted from Grand, Texas. My Son Calls Another Man Daddy, co-written with Jewel House. Many other songs were co-written as well. Some songs which were incomplete at Hank's death were finished and published by Hank Williams Jr. and others. Many songwriters write songs with other people, and both writers are credited for the song. However, it seems that this is not always the case with some of Hank's songs. Apparently, Hank's producer, Fred Rose, had a major impact on Hank's songs. Here's what an article in the magazine I previously referenced had to say about Hank and Fred's relationship. And I quote, Hank met Fred Rose for the first time in Montgomery, Alabama in 1944. Fred was to be the most dominant force in Hank's career. He not only personally took charge of Hank's recording career, but he also virtually rewrote all of Hank's songs, making them more palatable to the broader pop audience. Fred was a master songwriter, arguably the very best of all time. Hank was most fortunate to have his help and guidance. End quote. Now, another article in this same magazine was written by W.R. Hamilton, and it addressed Hank's and Fred's relationship in greater detail. He says, and I quote, although Fred Rose is generally considered to have written all of Hank Williams' songs, and granted, there is a lot of Fred in most of them, this is really quite unfair to Hank. It is also probably true that Hank's songs would not have been as good without Fred's help and work on them. But that's neither here nor there as far as our including Hank as one of country music's greatest songwriters. He was capable of writing songs, and some of his earliest efforts were quite good, such as Honky Tonkin' and When God Comes and Gathers His Jewels. The general consensus is that Hank came up with the ideas and some of the lines, and Fred polished them and put them in finished form. But as any songwriter knows, the idea is at least 50% of the song. This fact alone would have to salvage some of Hank's reputation as a non-songwriter. If he indeed came up with the ideas for Cold, Cold Heart, I Can't Help It, Jambalaya, Your Cheating Heart, and Hey Good Lookin', then he certainly had some genius for commerciality. If he was unable to put the finishing touches on them, this certainly doesn't completely take away his talent. Hank has been maligned unfairly, as well as overpraised in some quarters as a writer in the last few years, and his reputation has suffered. However, we still place him in the top 10. His songs are known and sung by everyone. His versatility was exceptional. His quality was the very best, and his writing style certainly inspired and influenced others. Anyone who could, in 6 short years, come up with many as hit song ideas in as many different veins as he did simply has to be rated a super talent. Perhaps his songs would not have been as great without the Fred Rose magic, but nobody really knows the extent of Fred's contribution. One thing is certain: Hank Williams' songs will live forever. End quote. These 2 articles add some additional information about Hank Williams' music, and they're very interesting. But whether Hank wrote his songs by himself or Fred Rose changed them to be more commercial doesn't matter to me. The most important thing is that Hank Williams' songs will live forever.